and blah, 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 Mr. Speaker. And in raising this point of order, I want to buttress the point that has been put forth by the chair of the Roads Committee. And Mr. Speaker, I'm a member of the Roads Committee. The Roads Committee is seized with a petition on the same subject. Mr. Speaker, the distinguished Senator Chute was in the same delegation that I was in, where we met the governor of Mombasa and the members of public and the developers in Buxton. And he was sitting to my immediate left, Mr. Speaker. If a matter is currently before another committee, a similar matter, Mr. Speaker, that Standing Order 55, and if you look at even Standing Order 100, Mr. Speaker, that matters before a select committee should not be referred to. The only area where I disagree with all the speakers who have spoken is a part where they are insinuating that the speaker has already made directions on which committee the matter should go to. The procedure in this House is that once the statement has been read by a member, it is the speaker to give directions on the committee to which the statement should be sent. And so for those who are imputing that the speaker has already decided that this matter is going to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, I think they are anticipating the decision and ruling of the speaker. Mr. Speaker, we want to call on you, having listened to the sentiments of members, having listened to the reservations of the chair of the Roads Committee and contributions of other members of the same committee, that you shall exercise your power under the standing orders and direct this particular statement to be addressed by the committee that is currently seized of the matter. And Mr. Speaker, I want to urge members of this committee to take very seriously what has been said by the distinguished senator for Kakamega, who has given certain prescriptions on how the interests of the public and the citizens and residents of Mombasa should be safeguarded. I believe, and I still do believe, Mr. Speaker, that the Roads Committee, with the competent membership of Senator Chute, the competent membership of Senator Peris Tobiko, with the competent membership of Senator Wambua, and the competent membership of Senator Edwin Sifuna, and the competent membership of Senator Lelegwe. Mr. Speaker, I believe that this committee should be able to provide responses to the questions raised by Senator Chute, and it is in your power, it is in your hands at this point to direct that this statement be sent to the relevant committee, which is the Roads Committee.
Thank you, Honorable Senators. Spend your minutes. 2 minutes, kindly, 2 minutes. Let's conclude the statement now.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I walked in when my chairman was really agitated. I was wondering what the problem was, but now I understand what the issue was. Mr. Speaker, just to add on what Senator Cheriot, the majority leader, said and what Senator Kajwanga said, the Speaker, the matter of Buxton is properly before the Roads Committee. The issues raised, and I know he raised those issues when we met in Mombasa, could just be supplementary questions on the statement, issue statement. I'm very sure the committee will be able to deal with that. But Mr. Speaker, on the matter of the security issue raised by Senator Mofaya from Tharaka Nithi. The Speaker, one of the things that we have to do as a country is to respect the sanctity of life. The Speaker, you know, when we speak here and talk about so and so has been shot dead, so and so has been shot dead, for us it could just be numbers and people. But the Speaker, it's lives that we are losing. Irrespective of the reasons why people are demonstrating, irrespective of the reasons why people are found on the wrong side of the law, there is no law that authorizes police officers to shoot, to kill people. As a Speaker, if we continue this trend, then I don't know where we are going to stop. My prayer as a Speaker is that once the committee is seized of this matter, of this statement, let the Senate be that house of reason that makes it very, very costly for police officers to go about shooting and killing people in the pretext of stopping demonstrations. As Senator Montero said, Mr. Speaker, we have announced that in coming weeks, maybe we could have more protests. It could happen. We don't want, Mr. Speaker, a situation where police now take it for granted that you can just go and kill people because they are protesting. Mr. Speaker, let's respect the sanctity of life, and I thank the Senator for Rakanidi for bringing this statement. I thank Mr. Speaker.
Sorry. Honorable Senators, clearly looking at this statement, I'm really and also listening to the sentiments of various senators who have given their remarks on this statement, I rule that this statement should be handled by two committees. That is the Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing, and the Committee on Lands. Housing and Lands, those are two different committees. Chair Arons, are you disputing my intellect? So, next order. Statement and standing order 56(1)B by 3 committee chairs. We start with the chairperson, Select Committee on County Public Accounts. Who is out of order? The chair, or who is out of order? Chair, County Public Accounts. Do you have a statement from your committee? You know you must engage on one thing at a time. Yeah?
Is a problem.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I apologize. Senator Izena distracted me a bit. No, it only happens three days in a week. Mr. Speaker, I wish to give a statement relating to the activities of the Senate County Public Accounts Committee pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B. Mr. Speaker, during the period under review, and that is commencing 25th October 2022 to 30th March 2023, the committee held a total of 30 meetings. The committee has interrogated and prepared 13 reports awaiting adoption by the committee before tabling in the Senate. The following are the county entities whose reports are awaiting adoption by the committee: Nyeri County, Nandi County, Bomet County, Tharaka Nithi, Vihiga, Homa Bay, Nyamira, Tana River, Kiambu, Kitui, Isiolo, West Pokot, and Narok County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, out of the interrogations of the above county entities, a number of issues of concern arose. Most of the county entities had challenges with submission of documents to the auditors as stipulated in the Public Audit Act of 2015. The committee noted that most county executives and assemblies did not avail relevant supporting documents to the Auditor General during the audit exercise. Mr. Speaker, sir, the reports also revealed that most of the county entities were not able to apply proper accounting practices, and their financial statements were characterized by lack of regular reconciliations. Subsequently, the lack of regular reconciliations resulted in variances between the IFMIS and financial statements. This resulted in inadequate reporting and presented an inaccurate position of the financial operations of the county assemblies. Mr. Speaker, sir, the reports further revealed that a number of counties had weaknesses in executing their budgets, and most of the county entities did not adhere to the approved budget ceiling set for programs, votes, and sub-votes. Mr. Speaker, the audit reports also reveal that the entities made payments outside the integrated financial management system, contrary to the PFM Act. The practice of processing transactions outside IFMIS could be an avenue to bypass financial controls and may have led to misappropriation of funds. Mr. Speaker, the committee further noted that most counties had weak human resource management, where most counties recruited staff without following due recruitment procedures, in addition to absence of policy to determine optimal staffing levels. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee was also concerned about delays in exchequer releases to counties from the National Treasury, thereby hampering program implementation and budget execution. These also occasioned penalties levied on the counties from the Kenya Revenue Authority for non-remission of statutory deductions, putting a lot of strain on the county entities who found themselves in the circumstances out of their control. Mr. Speaker, the committee is in the process of adopting and tabling its report with recommendations of how to address the findings above from the audit report so far interrogated. Mr. Speaker, because we had agreed, even at the Liaison Committee, that we present a very, very summarized version, Mr. Speaker, we will be happy to table a more detailed report of our activities, which will include, Mr. Speaker, the position of the committee on Article 2265 of the Constitution. Article 2265 says that if a holder of a public office causes loss of public funds, that holder must make good whether they are in office or not. Mr. Speaker, my committee is considering inviting former governors where there have been cases where the Auditor General has pointed fingers at them for causing loss of public funds. The other concern that this House has registered is that we are still dealing with 2019-2020 financial year. Mr. Speaker, in our detailed report, we shall be recommending that we will be setting subcommittees to fast track and to ensure that we are up to date so that we can close 2019-2020 by 30th of June and to ensure that we are looking at the current financial year. And finally, Mr. Speaker, it is important that as a Senate, 10 years after the commencement of devolution, that we do a legislative impact assessment of the PFM Act, of the Public Audit Act, of the Procurement Act, and ask ourselves whether they are fit for purpose or whether this House needs to amend them to reflect the realities that county governments find themselves in. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the Office of the Speaker, the Senate leadership, and the Office of the Clerk for the support that they have accorded this committee. Thank you.
Thank you for that brief statement. There is a yes, Senator Medu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I have, since yesterday, after I came in, I have tried to be very respectful and obedient because you told us that once we press our intervention button, you shall allow us to speak. I was here until 6:30 in the evening yesterday, and you didn't allow me to speak. This morning, you, the Speaker. This morning, Mr. Speaker, I was in these chambers. I pressed the intervention button, and again you didn't allow me to speak. But now that I'm not sure I have caught your eye. I have made you to catch my eye. This is the position that I wanted to mention, in specific of what I think is out of order, and I'm not disagreeing to the ruling that you made yesterday on that seat. Because you referred to the Speaker's rules number 5, senators are required not to enter the chamber, lounge or dining room without being properly dressed. This means that a male senator shall be dressed in a coat, collar, tie, long trouser, socks and shoes, or service uniform, religious attire, or such other decent dressing as may be approved by the Speaker from time to time. An equivalent standard shall apply in respect of women senators who may also wear kitenge or such other attire. Mr. Speaker, when you ruled yesterday that I withdrew from the chamber, I was not allowed to mention this, and I think it is very important that you allow me to mention this. I came here yesterday donning a religious attire of the Hindu religion. And Mr. Speaker, it is perplexing that you on that chair wanted to roll it down on me that I cannot put on a Hindu attire because I'm not a Hindu. Mr. Speaker, I would not want to agree with you to that extent. Because if you do not have a Hindu in this house, you do not say that they are not represented in this house, Mr. Speaker. In this Speaker's rules, Mr. Speaker, it is allowed that we be coming here with or what Senator Redama Olekina, our minority whip, wears is the traditional attire, Mr. Speaker. I would not want to agree that if we do not have a Hindu here, then we cannot put on Hindu attires here, because it is then to mean that communities that are not represented, their traditional attires will never find a place in this assembly, Mr. Speaker. So in that extent and in that regard, Mr. Speaker, I would want to implore on you to review that ruling that you made yesterday, and let us have respect for all religions, Mr. Speaker. Do not force us to subscribe to just one.
Senator Medu.
Yes, sir.
You know you are using the word "you" in a way that is confusing me. You referring
Mr. Speaker,
to
the
me
life of that seat is
because I understand the chair was here then made a ruling on your addressing. So why are you using shortcuts again? Because it was not me was here. It was another chair.
Mr. Speaker.
So why are you bringing this issue again?
No, Mr. Speaker, because I was not allowed to speak. I was told I have to go out and come back when I'm dressed in a tie.
Now you are smartly dressed. Sit down and transacting business.
I'm agreeing with you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, it's not that I want to disagree with that ruling.
The Speaker dispensed of this matter yesterday.
But this particular issue that I'm speaking about was not dispensed. It was not dispensed, Mr. Speaker.
No, maybe I get to the answer.
Yeah, maybe you could look at the answer, but
okay,
the religious issue that I'm addressing to this afternoon was not addressed, Mr. Speaker.
At the answer on what the Speaker ruled yesterday.
That could be fine, Mr. Speaker.
I think that's better. You know, I told you again to refer to Standing Order 98. Because we have finished that matter, Senator Onyonka, we cannot go back to the issue. I've ruled that we must consult the answer, and that has been notified by the clerk. No, he is not on the floor. You cannot inform him. Because he is not on the floor now. You know, I have a lot of respect with you, Senator Sifuna. But it's Standing Order 98. That is what saved this house from a necessary point of orders. If you raised when the member was on the floor, that would be better. But now you see you are raising the issue when we are done with this matter about the dressing. What is it you are saying?
You know, Mr. Speaker, first let me say or confirm that I'm rising on Standing Order 122 E, which says that a senator shall be out of order if he deliberately gives false information to the Senate. Mr. Speaker, I know Senator Methu is a Christian. How can he come and deliberately give false information, in fact using religion, that because he felt bad that he was kicked out for being improperly dressed, he wants to ascribe the manner of dress yesterday to a religion that he does not belong to, and is lying to us. He's lying to us that he is now a Hindu because of wearing Hindu attire yesterday.
But,
Mr. Speaker, you know...
Senator Sifuna, how do you know that he did not change his religion last night?
I know him. Unless, Mr. Speaker, he changed his religion last night, I know for a fact that No, he's heckling now. He's heckling. Mr. Speaker, you have the records of all of us here. Edwin Sifuna is a Catholic. He is a Christian. He's the one who spends all the time, all the weekend. I follow him very closely on social media. He's always at AIPCA church. In fact, even including this weekend, he was at an AIPCA church, Mr. Speaker, and he's laughing because he knows I'm telling the truth. According to this standing order, you cannot falsely mislead or give information that you know is false to the Senate. You should rule him out of order and go let him go out of the house and resolve his religious crisis that he's going through.
Honorable Senators, in the public gallery, we have 87 students accompanied by 80 teachers from St. Paul's Kinangop Academy in Nyandarua County who are in the Senate on an academic tour. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them. And on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. Thank you. Senator Medu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to welcome my students that are from St. Paul Academy. Mr. Speaker, St. Paul Academy is my neighbor at home. We come from the same ward. It is a school that we all looked up to. I attended a public school. I really wanted and I hoped that I would ever get an opportunity to go to St. Paul, but I never got an opportunity to go to St. Paul. I went to a public school, but through God's grace, I'm now here. I want to welcome them to the Senate for this learning tour, and encourage them as they go back to Nyandarua, as they go back to Kinangop. When they see me standing on the floor of the Senate, it's a major encouragement to them that they can go to any length, they can go to any house, they can get to any height, and they can achieve anything that they would want to achieve. Mr. Speaker, had you given me an opportunity when Senator Sifuna was on his feet, Mr. Speaker, I would have said that I never said that I'm a Hindu. I never said that I have changed religion. I only say that I came here in respect to all the religions. Mr. Speaker, I saw Senator Sifuna yesterday wearing a kanzu. And I know Senator Sifuna is not a Muslim. He did that because he respects that religion. And Mr. Speaker, again, finally, it is very unparliamentary for Senator Sifuna to say that I lied. Lying is very unparliamentary. He should have said that maybe I misled the House, but saying that I lied, and it is in the records of the House. The students from my county are here, and they know that their senator is an head of the church. For them to hear that I lied in the floor of the House, I'm sure that it's not something that I would have wanted to take home. So I wish them well as they go back, and they have my best wishes always. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the next Chairperson, Select Committee on County Public Investment and Special Funds.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to make a statement pursuant to Standing Order 56(1)B on the activities of the County Public Investment and Special Funds Committee for the period commencing 1st January 2023 to 15th April 2023. Honorable Speaker, during this particular period, the committee has held a total of 21 meetings, and the meetings included the regular meetings to consider the Auditor General's reports on water companies within the counties, deliberation sessions with various stakeholders to create synergies in delivering the mandate of the committee, and lastly, consideration of the matter of the county regional economic blocks. Mr. Speaker, during the consideration of the work plan, the committee noted that water companies formed a major part of the investment in counties, and they face numerous financial, legal, and governance issues. In that regard, Mr. Speaker, the committee decided to prioritize the consideration of audit reports for water companies with a special focus on the financial years 2018-2019, 2019-2020, and 2020-2021. In that period of review, the committee has considered the following audit reports. Number one, Kisumu County in relation to Kisumu Water and Sanitation Company, Vihiga in relation to Amazi Water Services Company, Kakamega County in relation to Kakamega County Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Kericho in relation to Kericho Water and Sanitation Company, Narok County in relation to Narok Water and Sewerage Services Company, Uasin Gishu County in relation to Eldoret Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Kwale County in relation to Kwale Water and Sewerage Company Limited, Kisii in relation to Gusii Water and Sanitation Company Limited, Bomet in relation to Bomet Water Company Limited, Nairobi County in relation to Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company Limited, and lastly, Mr. Speaker, Kajiado in relation to Ole Kajiado Water and Sewerage Company Limited. Mr. Speaker, we noted so many issues that affect water companies. And as you know, Mr. Speaker, CPIC is a committee that was carved out of the larger CPIC, and a lot of the audit reports have not been handled by this House from 2014. But we noted a number of issues, some of them cross-cutting across all the counties, and we have categorized them in 4 categories. Mr. Speaker, one of the categories is management challenges. Top management and boards of several water companies were found to have capacity issues, Mr. Speaker. And this included the Amazi Water Company of Vihiga, Narok Water and Sewerage Company, Narok County, Kericho Water and Sanitation Company, Bomet Water Company, and Eldoret Water and Sanitation Company in Uasin Gishu. In our recommendation, Mr. Speaker, the committee made instant directives to the respective governors to restructure the top management and boards of the said entities. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to report that some of the governors have taken some specific steps to restructure the water companies and make them more efficient. And some of the counties are Narok, Kericho, Vihiga, Bomet, and Uasin Gishu. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, is an issue regarding financial challenges. The committee has observed that most of these water companies had material uncertainty in relation to going concern, meaning basically these water companies are insolvent, technically insolvent. And therefore, the committee made the following recommendation. We directed that the county governors and the top management to rationalize the staff establishment of water companies to a level that is lean and efficient in service delivery. The committee further directed that the company management to review the water tariffs to enable them to generate sufficient revenue to sustain their operation. The third issue, Mr. Speaker, which was cross-cutting, was the issue of non-revenue water. The committee noted that most of the companies had non-revenue waters levels exceeding 25%, which is allowable loss, as per the Water Services Regulatory Body regulations and also the international best practice. In all the counties we considered, the worst case, which had the highest level of non-revenue water, was Bomet Water Company. The committee, therefore, made instant recommendation and directives to the governor. And for Bomet County, Mr. Speaker, we noted that the water company had dilapidated the water infrastructure, and we therefore directed the EACC to immediately institute investigation with the objective of ensuring that those who will be found culpable are prosecuted, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I can see my member is excited about that. And Mr. Speaker, we have done the same for Kisii County. Issues directive to the EACC to investigate the operations of the Gusii Water and Sanitation Company. The fourth issue, which was cross-cutting, Mr. Speaker, was the transfer of assets. We noted that most water companies either maintained inaccurate asset registers that were not up to date or lacked the asset registers altogether. In other instances, the committee noted that the national regional water bodies that got into contracts with water companies in counties to develop water projects had transferred the associated liabilities to the said water companies, but retained the ownership of assets. For instance, and this my neighbor, good Senator Boni Khalwale, will take keen interest in this. For instance, Mr. Speaker, Kakamega County Water and Sanitation Company Limited owes Lake Victoria North Water Services Limited a whopping 4.2 billion shillings worth of loan, being money that went into the development of a water project in Kakamega County. The assets from the said project were still held by the Lake Victoria North Water Services Limited. In our recommendation, Mr. Speaker, we directed the county governor to put in place appropriate measures and ensure that all assets belonging to the water company are transferred to the water company. So Kakamega County Governor was requested to bring the matter of the 4.2 billion shillings to the attention of the Council of Governors and the Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee. Mr. Speaker, we have also dealt with the matter of the regional block, which is ongoing, and we noted that regional blocks continue to receive money from county governments and from donors, which is not audited because there is no legislation in place for the management of regional economic blocks. Some of these regional economic blocks have received billions of money, donor money, which it is very difficult to account because they are not audited by the Office of the Auditor General. Mr. Speaker, we are also dealing with the matter of unremitted pension, staff pension, which has not been remitted to pension funds. This amount is estimated to be 52 billion shillings, which counties have not remitted to the various pension funds, and we will be making a report on that. The committee has also sent out invitations to a number of governors to appear before it to respond to audit issues raised by the Auditor General, and we have noted that the governors have been very cooperative in this matter. They have been appearing before us when required. The committee plans to conduct a fact-finding visit to a number of counties, priority to be given to those investments that are facing huge fiduciary risks across the country. The committee will be doing its first report writing retreat in mid-May, and thereafter table the first report on water companies in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, I ask senators to take seriously the matter of water companies in their respective counties, because we noted that most of these water companies are insolvent and are facing serious management and technical challenges, which, if not addressed, Mr. Speaker, we will not have water for our people. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank my members that in our deliberations on the audit report, the committee has taken immediate steps. They have taken immediate steps, including making some orders, which our governors have gladly accepted, and some of them have made changes, which very soon, Mr. Speaker, we'll begin to see the fruits of our directives to the various counties. Mr. Speaker, having said that, just like my colleague from PAC, we have a lot of issues to say, but because of time, Mr. Speaker, I submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chair. I really encourage chairs to do a comprehensive report and table so that also we can benefit from the knowledge that you have, which counties, which water organ bodies. So prepare a comprehensive report and table so that all of us can be able to access it. So let's get the chair delegated. After this chair delegated, then we can take maybe 20 minutes for brief comments on the three statements.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a statement relating to the activities of the Select Committee on delegated legislation for the period between 14th of October 2022 to 30th March 2023. Pursuant to Standing Order 195.1 of the Senate Standing Orders. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 195.1 of the Senate Standing Committee order to make a statement relating to the activities of the Select Committee on delegated legislation during the first part of the second session, that is 14th October to 30th March 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Senate Select Committee on delegated legislation is established under Standing Order 195.1 of the Senate Standing Orders and is mandated to scrutinize statutory instruments laid before the Senate. During the period under review, the committee held a total of 11 sittings, during which it considered one statement tabled and one report. Legislative proposals. Honorable Speaker, sir, during the period, the following legislative proposals are being considered by the committee for publication. 1. Statutory Instrument Bill, the County Statutory Instrument Bill, the Statutory Instrument Amendment Bill. Honorable Speaker, the bills. Honorable Speaker, during the period under review, the committee did not consider any bills. C. Honorable Speaker, sir, regarding the statement 1 was sought from the committee during the period under review, the issue is the statement touched on remuneration and benefits of the state officers by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC. The statement was sought by Senator Mohamed Faki, MP. The committee stopped further deliberation of the matter as the committee awaits the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to be reconstituted. Petitions. Honorable Speaker, sir, during the period under review, the committee did not consider any petition. E. Committee induction and stakeholder engagements. Honorable Speaker, sir, the committee conducted its induction retreat from the 9th of January 2023 to 1st of February 2023. The members of the committee and the secretariat were taken through mandate of the committee and unpacking the Statutory Instruments Act 2013, the need for regulatory impact assessment, approval, alignment process of delegated legislation, and strengthening the parliamentary scrutiny of delegated legislation. 9, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee has also been able to meet with the National Transport and Safety Authority, transport network companies, company owners, drivers, and the passengers, Regulations 2022, LN number 120 of 2022. It was observed that the regulations were not in breach of the Statutory Instruments Act 2013. The committee resolved that the National Transport and the Safety Authority transport network companies, owners, drivers, and passengers, Regulation 2022, number 120 of 2022, be approved. Mr. Speaker, sir, in conclusion, I wish to thank your office and that of the Clerk of the Senate for the continuous support accorded to the committee in undertaking its work. Lastly, I also wish to thank the members of the committee for their commitment and diligence in and contribution during the committee activities. I thank you, sir. Honorable Speaker, I lay.
Honorable Senators, today we are blessed with many visitors, and in the public gallery we have 97 pupils accompanied by 6 teachers from Jack Range School in Kiambu County who are in the Senate on an education tour. Honorable Senators, in our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming visitors to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to them, and on behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I thank you. Kiambu, for Kiambu is not around. Senator Chalage, you want to welcome the visitors?
That's a UDA stronghold. Mr. Speaker, sir,
But
on behalf
Senator
of...
Sifuna, next time if you want to do anything, just use the machines. Then you'll be assisted. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want, on my own behalf, on behalf of the great people of Nandi, and on behalf of the Senate, Mr. Speaker, so that the children understand the county I'm representing, on behalf of the Senate, on behalf of all of us, and on behalf of your Senator, our brother, Senator Karungo Wadhangwa, to extend, and also on behalf of the Speaker, to extend a warm welcome to the Senate Republic of Kenya. As you are aware, there are 47 elected senators, and out of 67, you minus 47, the rest are specially elected senators of the Republic of Kenya to balance the gender issues of PWD, regional and other interests, Mr. Speaker, sir. And therefore, we hope the visit to the Senate will inspire you to be the leaders, not of tomorrow, but of today. I know there are quite a number of you who are either class monitors, class prefects, serve as student councils. We want to tell you that is where leadership starts. Even myself, when I was in the St. Francis Chapter 8 Primary School, somewhere in Nandi County, I also was a leader, and even later in the school that has produced 2 presidents in this republic. That's the great school of Kapsabet Boys High School. The current president, Dr. William Ruto, was a schoolmate in Kapsabet Boys, and the former second president, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, was a president. So I want to tell you the future is luminous, the future is bright, and we are proud of you, wish you well, even as you go for your holidays. Keep learning and listen and obey your teachers and your parents and your elders, and you will live long. And karibuni sana. After this, since Sifuna is your neighbor, he will host you for a picture and maybe ensure you have a cup of tea and mandazi. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Senator from Nandi. Honorable members, we have heard the 3 statements by the respective committee chairpersons, and Standing Order 56, I will allow members to comment on the 3 statements for a period not more than 15 minutes. Honorable Mungatana Danson Buya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to comment on the statements by the committee chairman of the Senate Public Accounts Committee. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I want to start by commending the Honorable Kajwang and the members of that committee. They have been doing a good job, Mr. Speaker. I have attended a session, Mr. Speaker, as an invited senator when my county was before that committee. And Mr. Speaker, I can attest to the fact that this committee is working. The point, and the only single point I wanted to mention before this House, is that Article 226 of the Constitution. In fact, Mr. Speaker, maybe I'd like to read it. Mr. Speaker, this article deals with accounts and audit of public entities. Mr. Speaker, subsection 5 states that if the holder of a public office, including a political office, directs or approves the use of public funds contrary to law or instructions, the person is liable for any loss arising from that use and shall make good the loss, whether the person remains the holder of the office or not. Mr. Speaker, this article is very clear that governors who are the accounting, plus all the accounting officers, Mr. Speaker. Governors are the political office holders, Mr. Speaker. Plus the accounting officers, whether they are in office or not, the previous governors, previous holders, control people who are holding or are in charge of disbursing funds within the counties, Mr. Speaker, they are to be held liable, whether they are in office or not, for losses that were made to public funds. And Mr. Speaker, further, the article of 226 in the Constitution makes it mandatory that those who are found to have occasioned loss, directly or indirectly, whether in office or not, they will be made to make good that loss that was incurred by the public fund. Mr. Speaker, I wanted the chairman of the Committee of Public Funds, Senate Public Funds Committee, Public Accounts Committee, to tell us how many governors and other holders, AIE holders from the counties that they have found to have occasioned loss to the various counties and other funds within the counties, and how many of them they have brought or made them to make good of the losses. Mr. Speaker, it is not enough from this article for the committees to just state that they will take this matter to ESCC, they will take this matter to DCI, they will take this matter to another body, and then escape the responsibility that has been put upon them, Mr. Speaker, by Article 226. We are asking the chairman, Mr. Speaker, to be more proactive. We want to see people who have taken money and run away be made to pay back that money, whether they are in office or they have left that office. We want that committee to give us that report. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sifuna Edwin Watena. What's your point of order, Majority Leader?
Apologies to Senator Sifuna. Speaker, I just wanted that you guide the House, because you said you have 15 minutes. It might be proper for you to guide on perhaps what's the maximum time a member could take. If we follow the trend that has been set, the 15 minutes will be over maybe by 1 or 2 members only. Thank you.
Very well. I had proposed 15 minutes for the reason that we needed to resume the debate on what that was interrupted on the other bill. And we do a maximum of 3 minutes per member. So that from the queue, I have got 4 members. The time that I allocated will be sufficient if we stick to that timeline. Honorable Sifuna.
Chair, thank you. First, I've noticed that the Senator for Nandi has left the House. We in the Senate know that the person with the functions is a person with the resources. Once he takes up the responsibility of welcoming the children, he must be the one to take the queue to buy them lunch. Mr. Speaker, I am very proud as a member of the, the minority side of the two statements that have been made here by the chair of PAC and CPIC. First, as a member of PAC myself, I have seen the tedious work that the committee has put in the few months that I have been a member. It's unfortunate that there are discussions to, reconstitute our committees, and I might have to give way now that I was assigned a bigger responsibility in the coalition. But Mr. Speaker, there are things that I have learned, and I think that this House needs to take cue. First of all, it has been worrying to me, of course, the question of delay of exchequer remittances. Many counties are complaining about that. We noticed the worrying trend of KRA levying very serious penalties on delayed remittances of payee, and this is also as a result of the delayed exchequer. And we have made a proposal in this House that in fact KRA and the Treasury are two arms of or two sides of the same coin. There should be a discussion where if Treasury is the reason why counties are not able to remit their payee, then KRA should not levy those very punitive levies on them. Then, Mr. Speaker, there's also the worrying trend of stalled projects. We saw this especially with counties in Western Kenya, including Homa Bay Stadium. We also have a problem with our own stadium here in Dandora, and we are hoping that counties will take the recommendations of the committee seriously so that they can be able to resolve it. Of course, Mr. Speaker, it will be remiss if I didn't mention the question of pending bills. As I have said, Nairobi is in a crisis, Mr. Speaker. We have pending bills of almost 100 billion shillings. There was a concept that was introduced in the budget policy statement, which I'm expecting that the central government will take up. This payment in lieu of rates, that the central government owes Nairobi a lot of money. It's actually the equivalent of that 100 billion shillings. If there can be an arrangement where they pay these bills off for us in lieu of the rates that they are supposed to pay to us, Mr. Speaker, it will help my county to move forward. Finally, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to give an experience. As a lawyer, you know there is something called practice directions. We would want that when these counties appear before committees, they are given practice directions on how to present documents, how to bundle them, how to number them, how to label them. In fact, Mr. Speaker, we have seen extremes. One of the best was Homa Bay County, the worst was Murang'a County. And one of those governors is actually a lawyer. I will let you guess which one is a lawyer because you know him, he was a classmate. So it becomes very difficult for you to follow conversations as a committee where there are bulky documents, but then they are not properly labeled, they are not properly numbered, and it encumbers.
Thank you very much, Senator Sifuna. Senator Churiot, Aaron, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll begin by saying I'm proud of the work of all committees of the Senate, like my friend Sifuna, who has chosen to be proud of work of committees that are chaired by members of the minority side alone. It's good to belong to the majority side, but it's greater to belong to the Senate. That's my thinking, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, with that regard, I celebrate the work that has been done by the chairs of the PAC and the delegated legislation, Mr. Speaker. Very important points that are being raised by colleagues here on the floor. Number one, on the issue of standardization of reports by the various county governments when they appear before both our committees. I thought that's something worth considering either by committee by way of regulations. Either the committee could consider a standard letter where when an invitation to appear goes to the various county governments, then there is a standard way in which they respond to those issues. There are proposals to amend various statutes and laws that have been raised by Senator Kajwang, the chair of Public Accounts Committee, which is something, Mr. Speaker, that I think as a committee, given that the legislative power is within our hands as a House, we shouldn't spend a lot of time. This is one such incident where, as committee chairpersons, apart from issuing the statement and saying we find these laws are either in conflict or non-consonant with our practices as a House, this is our proposal. We should be seeing actually an amendment table before the House and saying, for this reason, this committee is proposing a change either to PFM or any of these other laws, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we appreciate the work. I appreciate also the work of delegated legislation led by Senator Mofaya, Senator Gataya. Mr. Speaker, I know there are various regulations that are presently before them and presently before the National Assembly. This is one of the areas, Mr. Speaker, where we continue to have a big fight with our colleagues from the National Assembly, where unless we are vigilant as a House, I see regulations quickly approved by delegated committee of the National Assembly, which one way or the other did not find their way to this House. One of the things I quickly do, Mr. Speaker, is pick up the call and ask Senator Gataya whether those regulations were actually brought to this House, because it is important, Mr. Speaker, that as a House we consider all regulations that which in one way or the other affect the operations of county governments. And you will struggle very much to find any regulation that doesn't consult the operation of county governments, Mr. Speaker. Lastly, it's just a question that I have tabled before this House before on the need for the House to think beyond the after the fact nature in which PIC and PAC continue to work. That as senators, presently today, if you ask any senator who's keen to the work and the going-ons in their county, Mr. Speaker, they will tell you that they have concerns. I know the county government intends to hire, yet I know for a fact that we have burst our ceiling on recurrent expenditure and that kind of things, which is the specific committee, Mr. Speaker, that either we can add responsibility to either PIC or PAC or think of an alternatively new committee, because on each and every day, Mr. Speaker, senators continue to use the floor of this House to send and sound warning to their county governments on various issues of governance malpractice that are practiced in our counties, Mr. Speaker. Unfortunately, the same have no place to be anchored on so that you can respond to it, Mr. Speaker. It's unfortunate that we have to wait for a report from the Auditor General to react to. You know, Mr. Speaker, the truth of the matter, it doesn't matter even if our Auditor Generals are properly trained and prepared. They cannot know a county government. They cannot know a specific county better than you as an individual senator, Mr. Speaker. And it's unfortunate that we have to rely on those particular. We used to see old tricks that continue to emerge, that you find an auditor who has gone to Vihiga County and they have found a road that has been named or done twice. In one of the documents is captured as a road from point A to point B, and in another bunch of document named as from point B to point A. Unless you are a resident of that county, you are not likely to pick it out, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, we need to think about it critically. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Senator Oburu Odinga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to first of all commend all the chairs of these watchdog committees of public accounts, public investment, and delegated legislation. And Mr. Speaker, I want to say that these are the eyes of the people of Kenya. And these committees are making very good recommendations. They are working very hard. But Mr. Speaker, if there is no seriousness in taking further what the recommendations they make, if there is no seriousness in prosecuting those who steal public funds, those who dip themselves into public coffers, Mr. Speaker, the work of these committees will rot in the shelves, and they will not be useful to the members of the public. Mr. Speaker, somebody made a statement here that these governors, whether they are there or they are retired, they should be held accountable. And Mr. Speaker, in Nigeria, when devolution was introduced, more than half of the governors went to jail. Mr. Speaker, this is because, Honorable Nani, please, my leader, please, let me. Mr. Speaker, in Nigeria, when the governors, when they introduced into devolution, 50% of the governors went to jail because of dipping themselves, their hands into the coffers of the public. Mr. Speaker, in Kenya, we speak of people being investigated by ethics and anti-corruption, and the public investment, public accounts make recommendations. But I have never heard any governor who is jailed because he has dipped his hands, even though they do quite a lot. And Mr. Speaker, I want specifically speak about my friend Honorable Sosi when he mentioned something about Kakamega. Kakamega, the Lake Victoria North Water Services Board, and the Kakamega, I think, company, water company. Mr. Speaker, 45 billion? 4.2 billion shillings, which is owed to a state parastatals. Mr. Speaker, these are some of the things the government should just consider writing off if that money was properly used and it is to the benefit of the Kakamega people. Mr. Speaker, I also want to suggest that these regional authorities who don't have laws regulating them, we should make those laws here in the Senate, and I would have liked Mr. Honorable Sosi to propose a law which legalizes these regional authorities, makes them legal for them to receive money from donor organizations, and so that they can be audited, but the money should not be channeled all through the Treasury. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I can see that light is turning red.
Thank you, Senator Oburu. Lastly, Senator William Kipkemoi Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also rise to make comments on the three statements and thank the three chairs for good work they are doing. Actually, these three committees, Honorable Chair, are very busy and they do a lot of work. I want to thank the leadership of Senate for agreeing to split CPIC into two committees so that at least the water companies and other special funds, the counties are checked, and reports from the Auditor General report are discussed, Honorable Speaker, because from what the Chair said, from 2014 until this Parliament, the water companies and special funds were never audited by CPIC. So at least there is something that's going on, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the water pipelines across all the water companies in the country, most of them are very old and dilapidated, and it requires rehabilitation. And the county governments may not be able to to replace the pipelines. Maybe going forward, it might be prudent for the county governments to seek maybe funds from donors and also from national government so that they can be assisted to replace the old pipeline systems, because currently, from the reports that we've received, Honorable Speaker, they are losing close to 70% of the water into non-revenue water. There are many counties, and the acceptable standard percentage, Honorable Speaker, is about 25%, but most of them are above 40%. In fact, there is one particular county that they're losing 70%. If you lose 70% of what you get, basically it means you'll go into losses. That's why we are saying most of the water companies are insolvent technically. They can't run on their own. They get support from the county governments. Honorable Speaker, we have also been able to advise the governors to take charge. Some of the governors thought that the water companies are independent, and they didn't know that as the executive of the county, they are the ones who are responsible to ensure there is efficient management to run the water companies. We are happy that most of them who have come to the committee have already taken steps, and they've done restructuring to ensure that the water companies are run efficiently so that at least they can make, even if they don't make a surplus, they're able to pay the day-to-day expenses of the companies, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on statutory deductions, most of the water companies have not remitted pay-as-you-earn, pension, NSSF and NHIF. In fact, we were thinking widely as a committee that, it is not because of the water companies or the county governments. It is because Treasury has not dispersed the resources of the county. So we are saying maybe going forward, we might even think and see if it is possible that before resources are sent to the counties, then the pay-as-you-earn, NHIF and SSF and pension could be deducted at source, so that you know, we don't have unpaid statutory deductions. Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much and congratulate the members of these committees and the other committees also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Kisang. Honorable members, standing order 56 grants us 20 minutes. We have since consumed that amount of time. I can see we still have got members in the queue, but for purposes of going on with the order paper for today, I will not allow any additional comments on these statements which have been issued by members. We will go to the next order paper.
Order number 8, the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 9 of 2023, second reading, division.
I direct that the clerk now may ring the division bell for 5 minutes. Clerk, could you please still do another 5 minutes division bell?
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
Ni kubwa, ni mingi, ni tamu, ni yako na ni moto. Tumengojea sana show ya Kikenya ambayo inatuelewa na inatujali na pia inajumuika nasi katika magumu ya maisha. Guess what? We have it. The Lotto Moto Show! Uko na uwezo wa kujishindia hadi 2 million Kenyan shillings kupitia draw yetu popote unapotutazama. Na tuko na haja ya kusikia story na magumu unayoyapitia. Tutakuita kwenye show na tutarahisisha mahali. Nafasi za wageni watatu zipo katika kila show ambao wanajipatia fursa ya kujichagulia sanduku moja kati ya 12. Kila sanduku liko na zawadi kem na za kipekee. With lots of fun, lots of prizes and money. Lotto Moto, only on KBC.
Wamepata DNA confirmation and apparently he's dead.
I'm so sorry.
Prisoner wetu HPT ni brother Imran.
Brother wako ni terrorist.
Kama unaenda kuniset, malizane tu na wewe hapa.
Naumwa, Katana, naumwa.
Relax, itakuwa sawa.
Kama kweli nakupenda, sifai kukuficha chochote, sio?
Sasa mbona unataka kufanya kazi yenye hatuwezi fanya?
Something big is on the horizon and we need to get ahead of it.
The F5 jets will be airborne in 10 minutes.
Ili kupata mapenzi ni jina tu, kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, dial *811*815#.
Mapenzi ni jina tu, lakini mtu anaweza kulipa maana. Inaweza kuwa mpenzi wako, jamaa, rafiki, mfanyikazi mwenzako, jirani. Unaweza kupata mapenzi kutoka kwa mtu yoyote. Chagua kueneza upendo na muhimu, jipe zaidi.
Kupata mapenzi ni jina tu, dial *811*815#. *811*815#.
Stuck in a constant race, keep the pressure on, you're bound to break. Something's got to change. We should just be cancelling all our plans and not give a damn if we're missing out on what the people think is right. See you through a picture behind a screen and forget to be. Lose the conversation for the message that you'll never read. I think maybe you and me, oh, we should head out to the place where the music plays, and then we'll go all night. Just stepping with a woman I love. All my troubles standing up, and when I'm in your eyes, electrified. We'll keep turning up and go all night. We had dips and falls in our time, but we know what it feels to be low then up, alone then love, and all we need is us to go all night, night. Just stepping with the woman I love, night, yeah. All we need is us.
Baby, sun coming up when we walk out, we lost the track of time. Everything that I've been dealing with ain't even crossed my mind. I don't see nobody in here but us, for real, for you I'm blind. We go anywhere, it don't take much for us to catch your vibe. Come here, I need to tell you something, let me whisper in your ear. Do whatever to get you there, I'll push you on there, yeah. Private island for a month straight, I think you disappear. Damn truck look good on you, I'm copping you that years. I think I'm about ready to make love in this club. Only thing I need